new polling for Joe Biden having to do with Hispanic voters. According to a new poll, Biden trails Trump amongst Hispanic voters by a 39-34 margin. He's down by 5 points. He won Hispanic voters by a 2-1 margin in 2020. That is a massive change. Now, yes, one is vote count versus polling about a year before an election. Things can change, but that is a 40-point swing or something. And look, when you dive into the poll, it isn't that the Hispanic voters that are being polled are changing from supporting Biden to supporting Trump. I mean, many of them are, but a significant chunk are now saying that they want to support a third party candidate. So the support is going to different places, but it's leaving Biden. And that should be very worrying, I think, Nina. What do you think?
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, he has not done anything that spectacularly changes material conditions in this country, and the polls are reflecting how people are feeling right now. The biggest challenge, John, I think is going to be people are just not going to come out and vote. That is what is going to happen in 2024. And for those who don't come out to vote, we know that more likely than not is going to swing it to Trump's favor. Trump's base is much more animated than Biden's base, and and let's not delude ourselves. Biden never had a strong base to begin with. Let's not forget that. These votes were mainly anybody but Trump, and Biden won the electability contest against Senator Bernard Sanders in that 2020 election. Otherwise, Senator Bernard Sanders could have very well been president. And full disclosure, I was a national co-chair for that race. But that to me is what happened. So Trump has a very animated base, Democrats do not. And then you pour on what's happening right here domestically, and you pour on what's happening internationally. And I think that's feeding into these polls. And Trump is not the president right now, John. And I would love your thoughts on that. See, Democrats playing a dangerous game because they continue to blame Trump. Trump ain't president right now. It has not been, as of 2024 for over 3 years now.
Yeah, it's receded from people's mind, and rightly or wrongly, people think here's the status quo. If I like it, well, Biden was president while I was liking it. Maybe he's responsible. But if you don't like it, then yeah. And by the way, sometimes I think that makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there are long-term effects of policies. All of that is true, but that is what is happening. So everyone needs to bear that in mind. And it's easy for us who are constantly wading through the day-to-day of politics to remember exactly what Trump was like and what the Trump years were like. But for most people, they haven't been thinking about it. That the pandemic has receded a little bit in their mind. And so, they don't necessarily remember exactly how horrible the day-to-day crush of news was and what he represents as a candidate. Now, Nina, maybe they'll be reminded through the course of this campaign. Trump is going to be, doing his stump speeches about how immigrants are poisoning the blood of America and how leftists are vermin that need to be rooted out. So maybe that'll remind him, but maybe it won't.
Trump hasn't changed though, John. That's the thing. Trump is still trumping. So no surprises there. I think two major things that are going to animate voters is the economy always, and then it's what's happening in the Middle East. When Trump was president, there was not slaughter of innocent people. We're at 30,000 now. When you see dead babies, parents crying and gripping their dead babies, folks who have been injured, the people who are alive are never going to be ever normal again. They're never going to recapture what they had before. You got over 60% of Gaza just blown the hell up. See, that variable right there is a very powerful variable that is as harsh as the Trump years were. There wasn't this. And if people are going to measure him and his rhetoric compared to what is happening in real time in people's real lives, it's a big difference.